Sanjay Watan Shabson Demban Devarisha, Jidin Jamba Jubun Deva Kalon Juba Lama, Tada Menanje Damba Sanjay Jumden Dembe, Shaja Tubala Chasen or Jeda Javuja, Demba Jumden and the Shinsha Van Rajuma Yada, Zobe Sanjay Watan Shabson Devarisha, Jidin Jamba Jubun Deva Kalon Juba Lama, Tada Menanje Demba Sanjay Jumden Dembe. Shaja Tubala Chasen or Chuda Javuja. Demba Jumden the Shinshavan Rajumba Yanda Banzo, Ribada Shazun Demban Devarisha, one Jidin Jamba Jubun College. Lana Meva Lada Min Anja Demba Sanjay Jumden and Bejum. Shaja Tubala Chasen or Chuda Javuja, Kanzekanya Zo Jadamazea Sajenden. Manin Jidin, the Nacho Jazun, the Zekava Chanacha. Namda Bunga Chato Susawa, Yishija, the Sejan, Chavan Jidin, Sumnama Meva, Gombo Chonye Jana Chaz, Senjon Demba Chimenda Veja, Seto Dawa Jana Chaz, Direjana Zeva Sumache, Yame Jenjen Jana Chaz, Gombo Dujeja Demba, Tamje Jembe Demba, Sonam Yeja, Yishijana Chaz, no Taben de Chachawa, giving us. Jide Tendam Shaka, Shinju Jana Chaz, Trinity. Lava Dama Rabine, Shingatama Yin, Gidemania Cha, the Mondiwachi, and Gawapan, Rangi Simon, the Tennis and Yetama, Kamara, you must have sugar. Milan Loda Genda, when the Jason on the Rata, Sonam Dia, Tam Jesse, why you want them, the Ginger. Gadana Chiva, Vesiveso, one door show.
To the teacher, last one, before destroyer, completely perfected, fully awakened, perfecting knowledge and good conduct, Sugata in all the world, supreme vital beings within them, teacher of gods and humans, to you the completely and fully awakened one,
Blessed one, the glorious conqueror, is subdued
from the Shakya clan, I prostrate in offerings and go for refuge. To the teacher, the blessed one, the one only before destroyer, completely perfectly, fully awakened being, perfecting knowledge and good conduct, Sugata in all the world, supreme vital beings to be named, teacher of gods and humans, to you the completely and fully awakened one, the blessed one, the glorious conqueror, to subdue from the Shakya clan, I prostrate and make offerings and go for refuge. To the teacher, the blessed one, the one who lived, before destroyer, the completely, perfectly, fully awakened being, perfecting knowledge and good conduct, Sugata in all the world, supreme vital beings to be tamed, teacher of gods and humans, to you the completely and fully awakened one, the blessed one, the glorious conqueror, the subdued from the Shakya clan, I prostrate in the offerings and go for refuge. When supreme among humans, you are one more earth, you place us as stars and say, I am supreme in this world. To you who are wise and prostrate, with the pure body's form supreme pure, wisdom motion like a golden mountain, fame that blazes in the three worlds, we know your eyes to you I prostrate. With the spring signs placed like spotless snow, color like gold, to you I prostrate. You are immaculate, the three words are not, incomparably wise one, to you I prostrate. The Savior having great compassion, the teacher having all understanding, the field of merit with qualities like a vast ocean, to you the one gone to vastness I prostrate. The purity which makes one free from attachment, the virtue which frees one from the lower elements, the one path, sublime pure reality, to the Dharma which pacifies I prostrate. Those who are liberated and also show the path to liberation, the holy three qualified realizations, who are devoted to moral precepts, to you the sublime community native virtue I prostrate. Do not condemn non-virtuous actions, perform only perfect virtuous actions. Subdue your mind thoroughly. This is the teaching of the Buddha. Star and mirage, flame of lamp, and illusion to you or above. a dream, a flash of lightning in a cloud, see conditions as such. Through these manifestations beings such innumerable or seen, so too the whole force and be delivered from the ocean of suffering, of aging, sickness, and death.
Sanje Jala Soja Jala Ma Chanju Bandu Dani Jan. Nagin Jesoje Vasanan Jan Dola Benja Sanje Jala Soja Jala Ma Chanju Bandu Dani Jan. Nagin Jesoje Vasanan Jan Dola Benja Sanje Jala Soja Jala Ma Chanju Bandu Dani Jan. Nagin Jesoje Vasanan Jan Dola Benja Sanje
I go for refuge and enlightenment to the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha. Through the many I create by practicing giving and the other perfections, may I quickly attain the state of Buddha for the benefit of all sentient beings. I go for refuge and enlightenment to the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha. Through the many I create by practicing giving and the other perfections, may I quickly attain the state of Buddha for the benefit of all sentient beings. I go for refuge and enlightenment to the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha. Through the many I create by practicing giving and the other perfections, may I quickly attain the state of Buddhahood for the benefit of all sentient beings.
Tamje Jemala Jah, the Monte Dazanje Jemende, and the Jemanda Jemaya, Shazone Mandevraja Vanjit, Pada Menanje, the Vazanje Jemende, as one decision, and the Sonata Video. Gevezawa Namachumesa, Chevera, Sonam Jeteran, pages among the Sanam Jemado Jeva Juyarimbatom, Tonamidem, Shiro Sigil. Tonamanziva Mevas in Yatam Jadamba, Chanjuis, Java, Java. Young and endeavor to Jovan and Jeteva, Shepadam, Povasan Jim, Sonabrata. Yanyama Gujeta, Vachamaja, Gopusumba, Batagama, Suta, Somevata Damajava, Dumiana, Namajava, Another made a vacation no matter what. Yozo no other number of Sivala to which you want to get Yozo, whatever, Majuma, Sanjay Jimne, Yishima, Neva, Yamela, the one Yana, one Yaman, the Simja. Sivasala Shuba, they ended on the Sanjay Jimne, which you the Yana one. A vision of Tomageva, Padageva, Tomageva, Tears and Serious of Yozo Dava, Yozo Chawa, Yanda, Botoma, Deba, Ducheva, what they told you. Kevana just so and get you what you then the Jella was to children, one of them was the Manja. Zovesan Judan drove what you want me to, my major devoted them. Temba you what you want you want. Tebashi Bubin, and never should want you what you want, Tomushu, what to you, Timaja. Charge of the was on a vegetation, years of Jabenda, good on Jabenda, Jabachembo. Kangia, the general was on government, Chabam, Zobe Sanjaman and Jetambat and Charge. I think page 18 or 19. Okay.
It is on the bottom of the 18.
Page 19?
No, 18, 23.
Line 23.
Oh, okay.
Right. Yeah, so now this is talking about the benefit of this Bodhisattva's path. The union of wisdom and skillful means. Then you will travel by miraculous power to the innumerable worlds, make offerings to the Buddha and listen to the teaching from them. At the time of death, too, you will undoubtedly see the Buddha and the Bodhisattvas. In the futures lives, you will be reborn in special family and place where you will not be separate from the Buddha and Bodhisattvas. Thus, you will effortlessly accomplish all accumulation of merit and insight. So you will have great wealth and large following and many attendants, possessing a sharp intelligence. You will be able to ripen the mind stream of many beings. In all lives, such person will be able to recall the past life. So try to understand such immeasurable advantages that are also described in other sutras. So I think this is cool, yeah. Through the practice of this wisdom and the union with the skillful means, which means wisdom combined with compassion, right? So this is what called when we call the puja in the Sanskrit word, the puja is pleasing, to Buddha and the Bodhisattvas through realizations and the practice of the compassions that pleases the Buddha and the Bodhisattvas. And because of the blessing of the Buddha and the Bodhisattvas in your practice, and you will continuously, like this is in the path of accumulation and the path of preparation, Bodhisattva's path. So 5 paths, right? Path of accumulations, path of preparations, path of seeing, path of meditations, the path of normal learning, so enlightenment. So the path of accumulations, so what you're accumulating is the wisdom and the merit through the skillful means. So, in Tibetan we call chok lam. Chok is the accumulating knowledge and the compassions. So while you are on the path of accumulations, within the path of accumulation, there's 3 levels. Small path of accumulation, the middle, path of accumulation, the great path of accumulations. So now this is the, in the Mahayana sutras and the Mahayana scriptures, is path of accumulation is one who has generated wisdom, realizing emptiness and the compassion, and then through this compassion and the bodhicitta and the practicing the generosities, morality, the patience, concentration, and the wisdom. And also that includes the eightfold path. So all these are practicing in the beginning to train their mind. So that is the path of accumulations. So path of preparations, Jorvelans. Preparation is now you have generated wisdom, realizing emptiness through come abiding special insight, but not yet directly perceived emptiness. So that is the path of preparations. So then after the path of preparations and then path of seeing, now noble paths. Noble path means the first noble wisdoms that generates the directly perceiving emptiness, meditative through the meditative equipoise. So that's called the path of seeing. So after that, path of seeing has the gain some kind of cessation of imputed
the cessation of imputed afflictive emotions. The imputed afflictive emotions means that any afflictive emotions or the actions through, through the superimpositions, like independent self, the philosophically, misconceiving or intrinsic self. These kind of called misconception, but it's not the innate misconception. It is the imputed, artificial misconceptions. So through the artificial misconceptions, generated some kind of anger, attachments, jealousy, these kind of things, and then action. All these are abandoned. All these are ceased to exist at the time of path of seeing. Now the path of seeing has no artificial afflictive emotions, no artificial misconceptions, but there is the still remaining of innate misconceptions and the afflictive emotions that is derived from that innate misconceptions. So then that thing you call path of meditations, continuously meditating on through the meditative equipoise. So it's a path of meditations, and once you eliminate all the afflictive emotions, even the stain of the afflictive emotions, then it's called path of no more learning, no more need to meditate, apply antidote. So you become the Buddha. So right now it's talking about the path of accumulations and the path of preparation. Even that time, the great path of accumulations, you can recall many lives in the past, the knowledge, that information that received, cultivated in the past life, all you can remember. And you can also travel to the many, Buddhist realms and then listening the teaching from the Buddha and Bodhisattvas from the different realms, different. So these are kind of, so for the ordinary people, it's just to believe, and there's not much logic to prove it until you have this experience, right? So, and then because of you have generated the genuine compassion, the great compassion and the bodhicitta, and every accumulation, the merit and the wisdom is like spontaneously, that there's no need to put a lot of effort. Everything that you do or say or think about, or every become, spontaneously accumulating the merits. So, which means, which implies that if you do not have the genuine great compassion in the bodhicitta, or you are just trying, beginning to generating and meditating on the compassion bodhicitta, you may find accumulation merit is not that easy. It is hard for you. So once you generate the compassion, then everything becomes easy. So that's what we're saying. That pleases the Buddha. That becomes the great offering to the Buddha and Bodhisattvas. So from the blessing of the Buddha and the Bodhisattvas, your effort or your quality of the wisdom and the skillful means. So you may remember many, many past life, and you can accumulate merit effortlessly. So these are the advantages, immeasurable advantages that are also described in other sutra. So then, in this way, that you may, if you meditate on the compassion, compassion skillful means, an awakening mind of the bodhicitta for a long time with great admirations. So, awakening mind of the bodhicittas. I think in the Sanskrit, the bodhicitta is very simple. In Tibetan, Changchu Sem. So, bodhicitta means chit is the conscious or awareness, or what is that awareness is focusing on, focusing on the enlightened quality. What kind of enlightened quality? Your future enlightened quality, or others' enlightened qualities. So then he says, so to attain, you have a genuine desire to attain enlightenment for the sake of all sentient beings. So that aspiration, aspiring to attain enlightenment, driven by sense of compassion to the others, not driven by your selfish mind. Is more for the others. So that is called bodhicitta. Bodhicitta. The chitta is, I don't know. You see, in this actual the pronunciation is bodhicitta. So when we translate that pronounce in different languages, we always say Buddha as a Buddha, bodhicitta is bodhicitta. So long-time admirations, the mind stream will gradually become thoroughly purified and ripened. So the mind stream, your mind gradually become thoroughly purified and ripened. So the purified means you have enhanced your wisdom skills, and because of the wisdom and the compassions, your mind becomes moisture, so more open and more kind of expanding towards other sentient beings. So therefore it's called ripen, purifying and ripen. Less delusion and more sense of love and compassion to the others. So then like producing the fire by rubbing together a piece of the wood. So then that increases the fire of the wisdom. That increases the fire of the wisdom. You will accomplish your meditation on the perfect reality. So by perfecting your wisdom, the fire of the wisdom that keep increasing. So then you are able to meditate on emptiness and more like directly absorbing in emptiness. So now this is also called wisdom, the path of seeing, the direct realization of emptiness is like it's a flame, So once you are in that meditative equipoise, and there is no space for any misconceptions or any thoughts and any afflictive emotions. So that's like it's whole flame, the fire. So there is no dust, the dirt can remain. Everything will be burned. So that's why it's like producing fire by rubbing together a piece of wood. You will accomplish your meditations on the perfect reality. You will thus achieve an extremely clear knowledge of the spiral phenomena. So now, because of this, keep increasing the fire of the wisdom, now it become, direct realization emptiness. So knowledge of the spirit will all of phenomena. Every, so here they say, seeing one, seeing all. Through seeing one, seeing all. So because the wisdom realizing emptiness, directly observing in emptiness, through that way, they perfectly, realize the ultimate nature of all phenomena. So knowledge of spirit of all phenomena, free from conceptual elaborations. So because of this is direct realization emptiness, therefore there is no any active thought that is creating any kind of imagination of the characteristics. All shunned, due to the power of the wisdom. So this wisdom of the ultimate bodhicitta is stainless, like an unwavering butter lamp, undisturbed by the wind. Wisdom ultimate bodhicittas. Now, it's not calling the all every direct realization emptiness is not calling it bodhicitta, ultimate bodhicitta. So bodhisattvas, noble beings, wisdom realizing emptiness, direct realizing emptiness, called ultimate bodhicitta. There is direct realization emptiness in arhat. There is a direct realization emptiness in noble Arya beings. So these are not called ultimate bodhicitta. Only the bodhisattvas, noble being, their wisdom realizing emptiness is called ultimate bodhicitta. So the stillness, like so that's such mind in the such a mind in the entity of ultimate bodhisattvas include within the path of seeing. So now this ultimate bodhisattvas during the path of seeing, during the path of meditations. So you say, from the, first it's mentioned about path of accumulation and the preparations, how you, through your knowledge, through your realizations, how you please the Buddha and Bodhisattvas. That way, now you become more like effortless in accumulating the merits and wisdom. And now, because of continuously meditating emptiness, now emptiness, realization emptiness become a direct realization emptiness. So therefore, so that direct realization emptiness of the Bodhisattvas, noble being called ultimate bodhicittas. So ultimate bodhicitta in the path of seeing, ultimate bodhicitta in the path of meditation. So both are ultimate bodhicitta. So here produce include within the path of seeing, which apprehends the selfless nature of all phenomena. So this ultimate bodhicitta is directly observing the emptiness of all phenomena. Through this achievement, you enter into the path of focusing on the reality of things, and you are then born in the family of Tathagatas. Now you become, the child of the Tathagata, or prince of the Tathagata. If the Buddha is king, now you become the prince. You are, so you are marked to be, soon going to attain the Buddha, become the Buddha. Family with Tathagatas, you enter the stainless state of the Bodhisattvas. You enter the stainless state of Bodhisattvas, turn away from all wandering birth. So, the moment you enter the path of seeing, and then after the path of meditations, now you are no longer going to reborn in second existing through karmic force, through karmic force.
After the entrance of the path of seeing, we no longer go.
You're not going to reborn, due to the force of the karma. So you're going to born, and what condition you're born? Out of compassion. Out of compassion, and use the seed of the misconceptions. They're called settle obscurations and compassion together. You continuously born in samsara. So now you have no karma and afflictive emotion to create, to propel you in samsara. Afflictive emotions in the Bodhisattvas mind is become, there is afflictive emotion. They haven't really totally abandoned it, but they become, this is means you have a poison, but you have a remedy. So that the poison in the body is not going to affect on you, because the powerful remedy in the vaccine. So they don't have any condition to reborn in samsara due to the force of the karma and afflictive emotions. Now the only condition they get reborn again, they're promised to be reborn again and again to dispel the suffering of others, is now only condition is the compassion and the seed of the obscurations, phenomena. So this is why every time noble Bodhisattvas, when they're born, their body is free from conditioned suffering. So free from conditioned suffering. So this is on the Prajnaparamita Sutta. They also mention this kind of a body called, wisdom body. So wisdom body.
This is at the path of seeing.
Yeah, after path of seeing. Now there's a path of seeing here. Path of seeing, like ordinary Bodhisattvas, path of accumulation, path of preparations. While they are in that ordinary Bodhisattvas, their body is conditioned suffering. So once they turn into noble Bodhisattvas, then that becomes the wisdom body. This is why the Buddha said, until you reach the path of seeing, Buddha kind of giving the advice to the Bodhisattvas, until you reach the path of seeing, you should not be giving your eye and organs to others. Some Bodhisattvas ordinary, they have, very strong compassion, and they also give the eye, and they say, it is not allowed. It's not good for the individual until you reach the path of seeing. So the path of seeing, the wisdom body. So how many you took out eyeball? There's new eyeball comes. So yeah, you don't need to buy the glasses. So just take it and throw it away, and new comes. So this is why in the with the Shakyamuni, once he was in Bodhisattva, was noble being, and someone cut his limbs, so they instantly joined back. So that's because he has attained, the path of seeing and the path of meditation. So So you enter the stainless state of Bodhisattvas, you turn away from all wandering birth, abide in suchness of the Bodhisattvas. So now there's the Bodhisattvas, suchness Bodhisattvas.
Here, what does it mean, suchness?
Yeah, I think actually usually with suchness, emptiness, thusness, as it is, so all are the same. I think here is in Tibetan so in the English translation this is you will enter the stainless Bodhisattvas, turn away from the wandering, but abide in suchness of the Bodhisattvas and attain the first Bodhisattva level. So usually because ultimate Bodhisattva, now they use the suchness. Ultimate Bodhisattvas, the Bodhisattvas divided into two, ordinary Bodhisattvas and ultimate Bodhisattvas. So now when you reach the path of seeing and path of meditations, and you call ultimate Bodhisattvas. And then when we say Sangha, Sangha is also divided into ultimate Sangha and just Sangha. And ordinary monks and the bhikshus, and also the bhikshu who has attained path of accumulation, path of preparation, they call ordinary Sangha. And then when they reach noble path, noble wisdom, and that's the ultimate bhikshu. So now here, ultimate Bodhisattvas and ordinary Bodhisattvas. Now this person who has attained the path of seeing is called ultimate Bodhisattvas. In English, they use the suchness of the Bodhisattva. It's not a suchness. Suchness always refers to emptiness, right? So the ultimate Bodhisattvas and attain the first Bodhisattva's level because he has attained the path of seeing, so ultimate, the first Bodhisattva's level. So you can find more detail of these advantages in other texts such as 10 spiritual level, Sachuva. So this is how meditative stabilizations focusing on suchness is taught in the descent into Lanka Sutras. Now this is called, how the meditative stabilizations focusing on suchness. Now this suchness is emptiness. I think when you translate this like suchness Bodhisattvas, maybe it's not much making sense. So the first suchness is the ultimate Bodhisattva, and now here the focus on suchness is emptiness. So this is how the Bodhisattvas enter into non-conceptual meditation free from elaborations. So the path of seeing and the path of meditations, the wisdom that directly observing in emptiness called free from thought, free from mental construct. So there's no imagination, there is no any mental fabrications. Totally observing in emptiness. In this way, a person who has entered the first level later in the path of meditations, familiarized himself with the true wisdom of transcendental state and the subsequent wisdom and skillful means. So after the path of seeing, now he's talking about the path of meditation, the fourth level. The person who entered the first level later in the path familiarize himself with what he is familiarizing with. He is, continuously meditating on that direct realization emptiness. So two kind of wisdom of the transcendental state. So transcendental, I think is sometimes in English translation we use super mundane wisdom and the mundane wisdoms too. So this person who has, who is already on the path of meditations, when he meditated, when he's directly meditating emptiness, become the meditative equipoise, the realization emptiness. So when he, during the post meditations, his wisdom become, subsequent to wisdom. So that wisdom is seeing everything is like illusion. Seeing everything like a magicianal phenomena. So the first meditation is because of meditating single-pointed in emptiness, it is directly absorbing emptiness. It only sees emptiness. The post-meditation wisdom see everything's like relatively existing. So the true wisdom of the transcendental state, transcendental means direct realizing emptiness, and the subsequent wisdom is seeing everything's like illusion, like phenomena, and skillful means. So that because of the wisdom strengthened by the great compassion and bodhicitta. In this way, he gradually purified subtlest, accumulation of the obscuration that are object of the purification of the path of meditations. Now this, during the path of meditations, with two kinds of wisdom, what they, overcome, what they eradicate is most subtle obscurations, kind of like something that is the print from the misconceptions. So they are dealing with the very subtle obscurations or defilement. And in order to achieve the higher qualities, he thoroughly purified, lower spiritual level. So all purpose of the objective are completely fulfilled by entering in the transcendental wisdom of Tathagata and entering the ocean of the omniscience. Now this wisdom, that is continuously, eliminating even the most subtle, defilement of the obscurations. And then gradually it is going towards entering into omniscient, the ocean of the omniscient. So becoming omniscient, that wisdom is. And how this, path of meditations, Bodhisattvas and the path of meditations, his wisdom turning into omniscient is through overcoming the subtle obscurations and, gradually overcoming it and become the ocean of the omniscient. In this way, by gradual practice, the mind stream is thoroughly purified. So it's not just abandon it, it just cleans even the stain of the misconception or the afflictive emotion. mind stream thoroughly purified, the descent into the longer explain this, the unraveling the thought too. So this is the third telling wheel of the Dharma. Unraveling the thought too reads, in order to achieve those higher level, the mind should be purified just as you refine gold until you realize unsurpassable, perfectly, consummate Buddhahood. Perfectly consummate Buddhahood. So this means each level, to reach the higher level, and you have to deal with one particular obscurations. By overcoming that, eliminating that, then turning to that. And then there's another obscurations, more settled. And that overcoming, and then, in this way you just go higher and higher. It's not because of how many years we have spent. It is because how many obscurations you have, purified, and then you turn. So this is like the refining the gold unto realize unsurpassable, perfectly consummate Buddhahood. So I think here the perfectly consummate Buddhahood. In Tibetan we call young tapas. In Sanskrit, samyak sam, samyak sam. So it's not just good, it's perfectly, which means say when you become turned into better and better, and there's no reverse. Once you reach the highest, so it's perfectly settled. So usually in ordinary, you become good and best and excellent, and then you come back, right? So here is consummate Buddhahood means you have, turned, you have purified, or you have trained, or you have qualified perfectly, and then settle into it. This is how in the Heart Sutras, gati gati, paragati, parasamgati, bodhi, and then last word is swaha. Swaha means now you're settled. Shituva.
You say, all this evolution happens while you are a human being? Or
Yeah. Yeah, this is a human being. Yeah.
you don't need to go to different realms, higher realms, or
Now, this is very strange, when in the Prajaparamita and Tantrayana, Prajaparamita always says that, to have the noble wisdom, particularly the Mahayana Bodhisattva's noble wisdom. So for the noble wisdom to support that wisdom, to sustain that wisdom, and the body, which sustain or supporting the wisdom, also much purified, more powerful. So that's why the Bodhisattva, noble wisdom, the noble Bodhisattvas, their body is, it says, is free from all the impact or influence of the karma and afflictions. Yeah, so very strange. This is, we don't have much reason to prove it, but in the Vaibhashika school, they says that, because of this powerful 3 years of accumulation merits and the wisdom, the perfect wisdom, to hold that, the body is much, much stronger. And then it says how strong the Buddha Shakyamuni is. He said, in one, what you call, joint of your finger, each joint has the strength of 100 elephants. This is, you know, 现在这个呢就是对住了都比较少 you know, 70. So that, you know, then again, so what kind of elephants? This is, oh, there's the elephant, you know, there's one particular elephant, which one elephant has strength of the ordinary 70 elephant. So in each joint in the Buddha has this kind of strength, you know. And then Vavachika school goes saying that, you know, for example, you know, Devadatta is very strong, physically very strong, and he can, you know, wrestling with elephant. So he kind of grabbed the how's that trunk of the elephant, and he just, you know that, throw on the, you know, he throw on the ground, and the elephant died. Yeah, and then it says now Shakyamuni, you can't Siddhartha, you know, now you have to perform how strong you are, and Buddha from the finger of his, you know, feet, he threw it 100,000 miles. So this is what the Viveka school says. Therefore, even as one joint has that much strength, otherwise, how can this hold 3 years of the merits and powerful mystery? So almost like if you are weak, you cannot have the wisdom.
It's too heavy.
Yeah, it's too heavy wisdom, sir. You know? So yeah, the perfectly consummate the young lovers. And this is a very powerful word, you know. In Tibetan, young lover, in Sanskrit, samyak sam Buddha. Samyak sam Buddha. So young lover means, you know, you can make yourself in physical exercise or in gymnastic. You can train yourself, you know, to be best and excellent. Now you cannot make yourself perfectly trained, you know. So here the consummate Buddha is a perfectly consummate Buddha means, you know, you have a perfectly, you know, gone beyond and settled, you know. So that's, you know, Paragati, Bodhi Swaha. Bodhi Swaha. So Swaha is, you know, you have settled. Swaha. And in Tanzania, sometimes practice this. Om Ah Hum Swaha. You know, Hum Swaha means this is kind of in the visualizations, you know, you're visualizing all the Buddha and the Bodhisattvas, right? And entering into yourself and settle in your settled consciousness. And Hum Swaha. So you this within the visualizations, you imagine the Buddha settles in your mind. So here is Paragati Bodhi Swaha. So Bodhi Swaha, you know, that if you translate the perfectly consummate Buddhahood. So number 26, the entering in the ocean of omniscience. Now you become, you know, a Buddha. So now you attain the Buddhahood. So you're entering the ocean of the omniscience. You possess impeccable jewel-like jewel-like qualities to sustain sentient beings. Now, that sustain sentient beings, I'm not sure, is Nyarcho, the source of sentient beings. You become the source of happiness of the other sentient beings. So I'm not sure this sustain it really brings that kind of meaning or not. So you become the process impeccable jewel-like quality to become the sources of all sentient beings. So maybe it's sanctuary for all sentient beings. And these fulfill your previous positive prayers. So you have fulfilled all the previous positive prayers. You always, I go for represent Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha until I'm enlightened. Now your whole prayer is fulfilled. You reach the enlightened. Now, which means I pray, to take refuge to Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha until I'm rich, enlightened. So what you do, and after once you're enlightened, now I do not need to, go refuge to the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha. I don't need to study and accumulate the merits. I don't need to collect the knowledge. So that everything is like spontaneous. So maybe some people may think, if the Buddha is not going refuge to the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha, is Buddha is not Buddhist? Because he doesn't go to refuge to the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha. So now he is Buddha, so you don't have to be Buddhist, right? Buddhist who is trying to be Buddha, or who follow the Buddha, And this fulfill your prayers, all the positive prayers. The individual then becomes the embodiment of compassion, possessing the various skillful means that functions spontaneously and work in the various emanations in the interest of all wandering beings. So now it's become, after having attained enlightenment, and everything is spontaneous, a blessing, benefiting sentient beings, and there's no need to plan or think to practice. Yeah. So there's no, I'm going to benefit this people or this, that thing. So it's wherever it is like when the, when there is moon in the sky, wherever the container of any water, small or big, the moon reflects instantly. So the Buddhas, whoever pray or whoever, have faith in Buddha, that instantly that Buddha can bless, and sometimes Buddha also they're sending the emanations. That's the infinite number of the emanations. So the emanations in the interest of all wandering beings. So this is why in Tantrayana, the depiction of the many deities, some are wrathful, some are peaceful, some have so many jewels, some are many, holds some weapons. This, represent, the sentient beings, their mental dispositions. Some subdued their mind through the wrathful form, some from the peaceful. So there is the Tantriyana, the Guya Samaja, Kala Chakra, Hirokas. This is most of the Yamatakas, the mandala, Hiroka, most of this mandala, there's a symmetry, right? So Guya Samaja, there's no symmetry because this is the main disciple, he is always kind of, he like, how's that, tightened and clean. He doesn't want to imagine any, like cemeteries, like trash, things like that. So for that reason, in the Guya Samaja, there is no cemeteries. So it's kind of, Buddha's teaching is not what he wants to teach, what is necessary at the time. So in addition, the marvelous attributes are perfected. So with the total elimination of all defilement and their latent potential. Now, omniscient means not only free from afflictive emotions and misconceptions, even the seed or the stain of afflictive emotion, the latent potential. All Buddha abides to help every sentient being through such realizations. So that kind of understanding of the qualities of the Buddha, how the omniscient is become, then you generate the faith in the Buddha. In this way, you generate faith in Buddha, the source of all wonderful knowledge and qualities. Everyone should endeavor to actualize these qualities. So now it says, now you see path of accumulations, the path of preparation, path of seeing, and path of meditations, then become the Buddha, and everything's, spontaneously, the benefiting sentient beings, and infinite numbers. So when you generate the faith in this way, Buddha is not pre-made, pre-existing, one who become the perfect enlightened being. So then what gives you impact in your mind is now you also want to attain enlightenment. So if someone become that state, so then it become, therefore I too can become the Buddha. So the Mahayana, so saying that when they, so take refuge in Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha, so the actual Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha, they, when they take, what is in their mind, the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha that take refuge. As a Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha is your future of Buddha, your future, direct realization, emptiness, your futures, Bodhisattvas, noble beings that you take refuge. Directly, you are taking refuge to your future Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha. Indirectly, you are taking refuge to the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha in general. Buddha, whomever is Buddha, So that's in the Mahayana state. Mahayana state, going for refuge to the Buddha, Dharma, and the Sangha is directly always your future Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha. So this called, Jacob's, resultant cause, or the, the future result of the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha. Your future result, Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha, you take refuge to those three, Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha. So if you take, refuge to the future Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha, you take refuge to the future Dharma. So you take refuge to future Dharma. What is that Dharma? Dharma realization emptiness. And then if you have, faith, convictions, unshakable faith in your future Dharma, and you also have a faith in the right now, your understanding of the Dharma. So you will have faith in your Dharma right now, and you will faith in, in the Dharma that in the future. Yeah. So actualize the qualities. The Buddha, number 27, the Buddha thus said, the omniscient transcendental wisdom is produced with compassion as its root. So the whole, the qualities in the Buddha and the Bodhisattvas, Buddha and the Bodhisattvas, all the qualities rooted into the compassion, great compassion. And then the awakening mind of the Bodhisattva as its cause.
Yes, can you repeat again the difference between compassion and bodhisattva?
Now you can imagine this kind of, compassion is like a seed. Bodhisattva is the sprout from that seed. And then we become the full tree, and that enlightenment.
So compassion it is when you want happiness for other people.
Compassion is directly seeking freedom from suffering.
From suffering.
Yeah.
And then bodhisattva.
Bodhisattva is seeking final enlightenment for the sake of other sentient beings.
Okay. Yeah.
So the compassion always plays in the role like a seed, and in the middle it plays a role like water, and as a result they play a role like ripening fruit. So it started from the compassion, great compassions, and then because of the seed of the great compassions generated bodhicitta and wisdom realizing emptiness. And then the continuously perfecting that wisdom is again strengthened by the compassion. So it's like plays role like fertilizer. And once you enlightened, and every activity is driven by the compassion. Produce the compassion as the root, awakening mind of the bodhisattva as its cause, and is perfect by skillful means. The skillful means here referring to the practice of the six perfections that are driven by the compassions. These are skillful means. So now they hear the Kamalasila and his dedications. The wise distance themselves from jealousy and other stain. So all kind of, delusions. Wise distance themselves and try not to contaminate it by afflictive emotions and other negative actions. Their thirst for knowledge is unquenchable, right? How do you pronounce it? Quenchable.
Yeah. Unquenchable.
Unquenchable. So it's always hungry for knowledge. Yeah. Like in oceans. Oceans is a big water. still want water from the different rivers, unquenchable, like in oceans. They retain only what is proper through the discriminations. They practice, only that is right through the wisdom, the understanding right and wrong. What is beneficial and what is not beneficial. What is virtues and what is not virtue. So the discriminating right and wrong, and then they apply it. Just like a swan, right? Extracting the milk from the water. So they says, if you pour the milk in the water, and the swan will only extract the milk and leave the water. So thus the scholars should distinguish themselves from divisive attitude and bigotry. Sometimes there's many, sometimes because of their knowledge, their knowledge can distract themselves. One of the Nalanda's masters, and he next life he's born as a pig and a great scholar. So, and then during the Buddha, there's one of the bhikshus and very doubt, but he still attained the arhat, within the life. But because of the doubtness, it's because of the previous life, he was a great scholar, but he was always stingy about sharing the knowledge. So they say scholars should disdain themselves from the divisive, right? Divisive attitude and bigotry. What is the bigotry?
It's like a bias, I think.
Yenjin. Divisive, and it's almost same, right?
Something that separates.
So, and then another quality is that even from a child, the good words are received. Which means even from a child, even that is ordinary people, even that is uneducated people, the Bodhisattvas always have the skill to gain knowledge from them. So this is why Bodhisattvas, there's one of the attitude is Kunji Lomajo means become the students of every sentient beings. They also have this kind of mentalities.
I read bigotry to be fanatic. To be fanatic of your own position.
Yeah.
Okay.
So even from a child, you gain knowledge from them. Even the child is just one of the example. Even the uneducated, even Guru Rinpoche and the biography that says, Guru Rinpoche, he studied, he collected knowledge, even like those, spit. And he wanted to find the teacher, and then he find one old woman, and then he said, "You be my master teacher," and she teach. So, Bodhisattva means you have to, if there is something necessary and there's something useful, even the person is considered, and mundanely considered lower than you, or some kind of, but still you consider themselves. You're ready to consider themselves as a teacher. If you want to study, how to cook, so you can, instantly you can say, can you, you be my teacher. So that's, even from a child, good words are received, good knowledge are received. Whatever merit I derive from the exposition of this middle path. So now at the end, now she's saying, whatever the merit I derive from exposition of this middle path, I dedicate for all beings to actualize middle path. The second part of the stages of meditations by Acarya Kamalasila is here the complete, the translated and edited in Tibetan by the Indian abbot Prajana Varma and the monk Yeshide. So Kamalamashi he must have written in Sanskrit or some Hindi. So, yeah, stages of the meditations, root text has complete. Any questions now? Any questions? Any questions? Julie, have any questions? So, as from the beginning, it's talking about the, how to meditate, become abiding, especially inside. Within that, in the topic there's, and then talking about the what is the come abiding, and what is special inside, and then yeah. So the come abiding is a come and abide. So from the come, and which means no distractions, no disturbance. Abide means steady, still, right? So being still in meditative object, being free from the disturbance and distractions. So it's almost the same, being still and calm abiding. Now, so generally the calm abiding is single-pointed meditations. Meditating in this calm abiding, is not necessarily you have calm abiding. So you are training in calm abiding called meditating calm abiding. So Karma abiding means now because of your, that single-pointed meditations, being able to abide in object without any disturbance or distractions for 3 hours, 4 hours. Right? That means now you have become abiding. So as a result of the karma abiding, and there is the physical appliances, mental appliance too. Physical appliance is from the karma abiding, generally karma abiding, which means, from the bodily, because you have trained long time in single-pointed meditation, now you also have trained your physical body. Now body is very supportive, very listening to your meditation. There is no any obstacles, obscuration or the obstacles hinder in your meditations, which means physical appliances there, you're physically ready. So now, and then also said, karma abiding, you can use any kind of object, not necessarily image of the Buddha or the emptiness or the impermanence or the anything. So any objects, more subtle and more tiny, that you can single point with meditation. So now, if your karma abiding, karma abiding is not meditating in emptiness, then this karma abiding is not going to be a cause for the freedom of the liberation. So therefore, you need special insight, wisdom, editing from the wisdom. So with special insight in karma abiding, what does it do is now you are being able to single-pointedly meditate in emptiness or the absence of intrinsic existence, single-pointedly without distractions, disturbance, without obstacles, and you may be able to continuously meditate for a longer period of time. Then you gain karma abiding in special insight. So then this is karma abiding once you is called shine, and then that karma abiding can be turned into form realm concentrations, formless realm concentrations. The karma abiding, which means simply free from any obstacles, only free from distraction and disturbance. So, and continuously doing that, you can, to become, to gain the form realm concentrations, you may, through the karma abiding, you have to be able to overcome or subdue desire and afflicted emotions. It's not abandoning it, it's almost overpowering, controlling the desire and afflicted emotion. Then you gain form realm concentrations. And then through that single-pointed meditations, if you are able to, overcome or kind of like almost like undermining or, suppressing the form realms afflicted emotion, then you gain formless realm concentrations. So that karma abiding special insight. So as a Mahayana practice, so the karma abiding, the single-pointed meditation emptiness, which is, supported by great compassion and bodhicitta, and then is that wisdom is going to be a perfection of the wisdom, practice of the perfection of wisdom, and that continuously doing, and that perfecting your practice with generosity, patience, morality, concentration, everything. Then through that way you can accumulate the great merits and enhance your wisdom. And then that is called gati, the first gati, is the path of accumulations. The continuously going, the second gati, is the path of preparations. And then par gatis, beyond. And then you gain noble Bodhisattvas, the first path of noble Bodhisattvas, which is path of seeing. And then continuously, continuously going with that path of seeing and turn into path of meditations. And through the path of meditations, you are now being able to purify even the stain of the afflictive emotions, most subtle obscurations, and continuously overcoming and purifying it. And then at the end, you are free from all the obscurations, even the most subtlest obscurations. Then you enter into omniscient. So now Kamalasila is saying that if you think about the Buddha in this way, and your faith is more pure and more unshakable faith, and that brings the desire for yourself to be attained to enlightenment. It's not talking about the story of third person. It is also saying you too can, generate this kind of wisdom and come abiding special insight and generate compassion, bodhicitta. You can, through this wisdom, perfect your generosity, morality, patience, and concentrations.
Because when we meditate like on a verse from one of the texts, is that single-pointed meditation?
Huh?
When you meditate on a verse, just one verse, is that, I guess is it analytic meditation, or is it part
One
of
verse means
one verse, like
Stanza.
arising, enduring, ceasing, that one? Is that single meditation? If you're meditating on one thing and you're thinking about the emptiness.
Yeah, it's single-pointed meditation is not like you just pick things from from the shelf. Single-pointed meditation, you are meditating. You're trying to meditate single-pointed meditations in order to to be able to abide in single-pointedly. First, you have to figure out the meaning of that emptiness. Then is analytical meditation. First, analytical meditations. Once the meaning is so clear to you, and then you can single-pointedly meditate. It is not like picking things from the shelf. Single-pointed meditation. You want to do analytical meditations or single-pointed meditations, and then say, "Oh, I want single-pointed meditations." So single-pointed means if you are able to, without any distraction, if you abide in one meaning, first meaning so convincing and so clear to you. So for that reason, you have to contemplate, analyze, inquiry. Once the meaning, the absence or intrinsic existence or arising, and so clear to you, just try to single-pointedly, remain in that absence of intrinsic existing of the arising, and then try not to analyze again. Once the meaning is clear to you, and don't go again, use the logic and reasoning. If you are, a little bit distracted, you are just a little bit, shifted the mind, and then again use the inquiry, analyze, and then meaning is so clear to you, again, and then abide in that. Every time you distract, use analytical and bring it back. So, and then there is the possible of, steady and stabilizations in the single-pointed. So yeah, the stages of the meditations. What are the stages of the meditations? So stages of meditation, the calm abiding, expression inside. And what other stages or path of accumulation, path of preparation, path of seeing, path of meditations. These are the stages of meditations. And then for the Bodhisattvas, what are the stages of meditations? First, generating compassion, bodhicitta, and wisdom realizing emptiness. This is also the stages of meditation. So there's many kind of, the stages of meditations. Generally, it's just talking about generally the stages of meditation and calm abiding, especially inside. That includes all, And then you are talking about the stage of meditation for the Mahayana, and then path of accumulations, path of preparation, path of seeing, path of noble being, noble learning. And what is the first path of accumulation? What are the stages that require to be on the path of accumulation? And then says, first, trying to generate compassion, renunciation, realization, emptiness. These are the stages that require to become the path of accumulations. So any questions? Everything's amen.
Next Saturday is medicine due then?
Chanjo zemjo rinpoche, maje banga jejuji, jeba nyamba, mewa nyamba, kone kondo pewa. Tonye tawa rinpoche, maje banga jejuji, jeba nyamba, mewa nyamba, kone kondo pewa. Pama simjen tamje, dedan denjiji, nyendro tamje tato tonga. Chanjo zemba kama sushube, tada kunje, molam dhubjiruji. Kare rabyo kuwe shimazo, penda dewa ma rinjo. Jere zemwa tenzin jato yeshabe, side bado denjuruji.
May the precious body mind not yet born arise and grow. May the bone of no decline but increase forevermore. May the precious mind realize in emptiness, not yet born arise and grow. May that bone of no decline but increase forevermore. Due to all these merits, we all Father and Mother ancient things, all attendants. May your reverence be empty forever. Wherever there are Bodhisattvas, may all their prayers be accomplished immediately. In the sacred land surrounded by snow mountains, you are the source of all benefit and happiness. O powerful basic things in Jesus, remain in this world until samsara.
Thank you very much.